Welcome to Leigh Sports Village for a crucial night of Conti Cup action for Manchester United and Everton in what is a tightly packed Group A, with just 5 points separating Aston Villa, the table toppers, in first, and Sheffield United in fifth in between. These two, as well as Durham, in the middle pack. Everton can qualify for the last 8 tonight if they manage victory here, and Sheffield United do them a favour by getting a surprise win against Aston Villa. As for Manchester United, 2 defeats on penalties so far means they have to win this game, most likely in the 90 minutes as well, to keep alive realistic prospects of qualification. Taking a look at Mark Skinner's team first, and it is more a question of who's left from the weekend as opposed to how many changes. There's just 2 survivors from the starting 11 of that 5-0 home win against Aston Villa in front of more than 30,000 at Old Trafford. Billy Turner and Ona Badje, the 2 to remain, looking to build on what has been excellent league form, but of course it's been a very different story in this competition after those losses on penalties. As for Everton, they've made 3 alterations from the side that lost 1-0 at Arsenal, thanks to a bit of Viviana Miedemar magic, with Leone Maya, Aurora Ghali and Gio on loan from Arsenal making a first start for the club. The 3 to come in, Lisa Stanovic and Lucy Graham, the 2 wing-backs, drop out, as does the striker Katja Snoys. It is, in another encouraging bit of news for Everton fans, a return to the matchday squad for Izzy Christiansen, who is back on the bench. Conditions bitterly cold here. It is very much one of those nights to layer up and then layer up once again. It is great to have your company for this one. A last shot at the Conti Cup this season for Manchester United, in terms of the fact that were they to lose this game, whether they lose it in the 90 minutes or on penalties, there's no realistic way out for them. This one of 3 matches tonight, of course. As already referenced, Sheffield United, the Championship side, up against Aston Villa, also in this group. And then a game worth keeping an eye on in Group B2, Liverpool against Manchester City. 2 sides with perfect records in the competition so far. It will end tonight, of course, for at least one of them. But both of those teams, due to their high points per game ratio, are in prime position to take that 1 quarter-final spot. It is given to the side with the best ratio of points per game across the 5 different groups. The 5 group winners, of course, progressing to join Arsenal and Chelsea in the quarters. They will start there due to their Champions League commitments, of course. The UEFA Women's Champions League ongoing and into match day 4, which has started tonight. The referee is Simon Mathra, assisted by Natalie Aspinall and Lewis Raper. And your 4th official is Dan McCarrick. Everton, of course, in the blue with the white numbers, and Manchester United in the red and black, but likely knew that already. The I's dotted and the T's crossed. We're all set to get underway here. Before kick-off, a moment to take a stand by taking a knee against all forms of racism and discrimination. Incredibly important that women's football is a space for all of us to enjoy, regardless of your identity. So Manchester United, after 2 defeats on penalties, in something of a last chance Conti Cup saloon here, up against an Everton side in a somewhat better state, thanks to having 5 points from their 2 games so far, compared to Manchester United's 2. Red Devils attacking from left to right in this first half. Everton kicking from right to left. It's been a different story in the league this season for Manchester United. They've their best ever start to a WSL season, but haven't been able to transform that into this competition thus far. Spread wide by Williams. Badje on the overlap, it's a good cross, and Manchester United lead inside the opening minute. Vilda Boarisa, what a start for the Red Devils. 46 seconds or so on the clock when the ball hit the net. Lovely sweeping cross from the Spaniard, and there was Boarisa. He's had to be very patient in waiting to get game time this season. Plenty of Manchester United fans desperate to see her out there a bit more often than they have. But there she is starting tonight, and once again in the Conti Cup this season on the score sheet. just the start Manchester United desperately craved. Having come into tonight's second bottom in the group, those 2 losses on penalties to Aston Villa and Durham. Now Everton have got to find a response. Tunkara getting to start again for the 3rd successive Conti Cup game in a row. That's where all 3 of her starts for the club have come so far since signing in the summer from Atletico Madrid. Badje. She's trying to slip it forward for Thomas, who himself slipped on what is a surface that had been well watered, both occasionally by the sprinklers, but then more often than not by the rain in Manchester in recent times. Staniforth. Badje setting up that opening goal. Of course, was on the score sheet at the weekend. Ella Toon was highlighting how happy she was to see the Spaniard on the score sheet. Plenty of players got on it, of course, just the 5. It was a perfect day out for Manchester United, albeit Toon also added that really, with the amount of play and possession they had, they probably could have and should have gone and scored more. Very much that elite mentality being shown there by Toon in terms of her ruthlessness. 5-0 winners, but still wishing they could have got even more. Of course, they got plenty as it was. Katie Zellem and Leah Galton on target inside the first half hour. Alessia Russo just after half-time. And then Badje before Richard Williams got her first for the club in stoppage time. Staniforth. Badje. Still going Badje. Dangerous low cross. From the player who has built up such a sense of affection with the Manchester United fans. Nicknamed her the Spanish Queen. Even by her incredibly high standards, it does feel like she's gone to another level this season. It has been a joy to watch buccaneering down that right flank. But here come Everton. Beaver Jones. On we go. Benisson sets it round the corner. Back by Maya. Park. Trying to work her way through. The Manchester City loanee trying to hurt Manchester United. It's a lovely run from Park, and Tunkara slices it nervously over the bar. Early corner for Everton in trying to respond. Have struggled a little bit for goals this season, Everton. Aside from scoring 3 against Liverpool at Anfield and 3 against Sheffield United in this competition recently. They've only been managing, for failing to score, managing just the 1. What can Everton make of the corner? It's a decent delivery, and it's a good catch from Sophie Bagley. Bagley getting her opportunity tonight at goal in place of Mary Earps. Signed from Bristol City in the summer of 2021 after being one of the most creditable performance in a Bristol City side that were relegated. Something that also included the likes of Anthony Salmon, who's now up there with the Lionesses. The likes of Gemma Evans and Faye Bryson, who moved on to Reading. Indeed, there was very few on the women's football circuit surprised when Bagley secured a move to stay in the English top flight, but it's been unfortunate to being stuck behind such a good keeper as Earps. Burrisa links the play. Garcia looking for something. Thomas's back heel wasn't quite where Manchester United needed it to be. Now Park. Remember, of course, there is the prospect of penalties tonight if we're level after 90 minutes. If you're relatively new to the Conti Cup, it's not a straight knockout tonight by any means, this part of the Group A table. 3 points for winning in the 90 minutes, none for losing, of course, but then 2 points for winning in the shootout, 1 for losing on penalties. This is a group that has had a lot of penalty shootouts so far. I think comfortably more penalty shootouts than any other group put together. Teasing cross headed away. George. At left back tonight with Stanovic out. Everton in that 4-3-3 again that we saw versus Arsenal. They've been in a back three for a lot of this season too. Karen Holmgaard dropping between the centre halves. Garland. Now George. By Sevica. Nice header inside from Gio, who can now unleash that pace on Tunkara. Here's Gio. Still Gio, has lots of options. All wide has a little bit more on it than she might have liked, but it's still here for Everton. Teasing cross away by Torres Dottir. Everton looking for a fast response. They're joining us a touch late. For the Burries heading in for Manchester United inside the opening minute. Ball on a turn from Williams, trying to thread it through for Thomas. Thomas brilliantly stopped by Natalie Bjorn. It's great one-on-one defending from the Swede. One of a number of Scandinavian connections at the club. With Rian Sorensen in charge. Of course, no shortage of Scandinavian representation on the pitch for Everton. Recycled by Badje. Now Staniforth. Tunkara. Seems to be patient and waiting for opportunities this season. Badje. Tunkara clears under pressure. George's header. George looking for the through ball. Badje has it covered. Bagley clears. Nodded on by Williams. Rachel Williams, who would have known plenty about what you'd expect from working with Mark Skinner, being reunited with him after linked up at Birmingham City together once upon a time. Williams, a summer signing from Tottenham and very much a WSL veteran at 34. Was the top scorer in the very first WSL season. Scoring 14 goals for Birmingham City back in 2011. Skinner in charge of the Blues from 2016 to 2019. Amongst other things, losing in a couple of finals against Manchester City. The Conti Cup in 2016 and the FA Cup in 2017. Of course, now as Manchester United boss, is always trying to get one over the blue side of Manchester, not least in the derby at the Etihad at the weekend, of course. Thomas with the pressing, good challenge. Staniforth has space, and still Staniforth might just go it alone, instead lays it off for Garcia. Still Garcia. He's trying to get it inside for Williams. Comes back for Moore, who's going to strike one. And Brosnan is equal to it. A few yards either side of the keeper. And at that level of pace might well, of course, Courtney Brosnan some real problems. Brosnan, who has somewhat shared goalkeeping duties this season with Emily Ramsey. Ramsey was magnificent at the weekend, of course, but is on loan from Manchester United. Tonight, the 7th game Brosnan's played across all competitions this season to Ramsey's 4. It's Thomas. Good low cross from Thomas. And not the best defending from Maya. Recycled by Garcia and stabbed goalwards by Rachel Williams. 2-0 Manchester United. And 2 in as many games for Rachel Williams. Leonie Meyer's error pounced upon. Initially really good play in the forward channel from Thomas, whose low, skidding, dangerous cross was cleared by Meyer straight into Williams. Meyer was appealing for handball. On we went. Well, it is sometimes an overused phrase in commentary to describe a goal, but that truly was stabbed goalwards by Rachel Williams. After a clever cutback from Lucia Garcia. And Everton have got it all to do. What a start for Manchester United. They might finally be bringing some of their league form into the Conti Cup, where, of course, they led twice against Durham, ended up losing on penalties after conceding goals right at the back end of the first half and then in stoppage time in the second. And we're in front against Aston Villa as well, through Nikita Paris before Rachel Daly levelled things. And then Villa won on the shootout. Gio under pressure. Thomas wins the throw for Manchester United. Badge. Trying to find something, but Torres-Dottir with the interception. Having to fill in tonight out on that left side of defence. Would be a natural preferred position. Everton again on the high press, trying to get their way back into this one. Jade Moore's ran into trouble there. Beaver Jones, Park. Thea was tracking back just in time to stop the run of Meyer. Thea Garcia, who got her first Manchester United goal in the 2-0 win at West Ham. Certainly added a bit of bright energy to that Manchester United front line. Particularly that Spanish link-up with Nabadje down the right at times this season has been mesmerising. Arcon, Benisson. Meyer. On the line for Anna Benisson. Benisson, who was nominated for the Golden Girl Award. It's had a decent cross. Chinkara only half-headed away, but Manchester United will get the free kick. Anna Benisson nominated for that highly prestigious Golden Girl Award that picks out best youngsters to keep an eye on, who are already impressing at first team level. He's played in every game for Everton since signing at the start of last season. Last season, of course, that had a very different shape to what was expected. Everton spending big and talking of targeting the top 3 in Champions League football. Of course, turned out a long way from that, finishing 10th. 3 different managers. Willie Kirk sacked in October. He's, of course, now in charge at Leicester. Jean-Luc Vasseur losing his job in February after a run of poor results, and then Chris Roberts and Claire Ditchburn in interim charge for the rest of the season. It seems like there has been after plenty of investment, but maybe a lack of continuity and a high turnover of players, and emphasis on youth and development under Brian Sorensen. It's also been reflected in taking Jess Park on loan from Manchester City, Aggie Beaver Jones borrowed from Chelsea, Gio from Arsenal, and Emily Ramsey from Manchester United. Intercepted by Torres-Dottir. Sliding challenge. It's the attention of referee Mather, and a free kick. Remember, of course, you can get involved on social media for all things from Manchester United at Man-Utd women, MAN-UTD women. Everything across the toffees at Everton women, which normally often tends to involve the bubbly and intelligent contributions of Sarah Halpin as the club's matchday presenter. I was talking pre-match about the fact it really is quite a chilly one at Leigh Sports Village tonight. And for all things across this competition and the women's domestic top flight in England at Barclays WSL, everything across the championship on at Barclays WC. If you wish to interact with me, your commentator tonight, it would be great to hear where you're watching from, who you're supporting. Paint the picture of your thoughts on the game so far and where you're joining us from by getting in touch with me on @ThisIsMcCann, MCCANN. It would be great to hear from you. Imagine if you're a Manchester United fan, you might be a touch more buoyant than if you're an Everton supporter right now. The beauty of sport, of course, is the unpredictability, how quickly things can change. Gabby George. Bit of space here for Gali. Gio. Still Gio. Lovely work. And then a good block from Tunkara to deny Beaver Jones. Tunkara in there again. One back off Staniforth. With a bit of momentum and looking to capitalise here. Just want to get one back to make both Manchester United and the home fans a little bit nervous. Turner recycles. Millie Turner, who's been one of the most interesting revelations from what the Manchester United fans have light-heartedly called the middle name game, where they find out the players' middle names, and you couldn't really make up what hers is. It is Millie Tina Turner. I do feel like it's only a matter of time until Manchester United Barmy Army come up with a creative song to honour their centre-half. It's reflecting that middle name, of course. Something to Simply the Best would seem the most obvious. Of course, Turner had a name on the score sheet in that 3-2 win at the Emirates. Had that Manchester United packed out, sold out away end. So jubilant. United scoring twice late on through Turner and then Russo to go and win the game. Quite a bounce back from losing against Chelsea. Only WSL defeat this season. Of course, they've lost twice in this competition, both on spot kicks. Staniforth. Chance to slip one through for Thomas. This is where the second goal came from. Thomas's cross is a good one. And Manchester United have another. Vilda Burisa has another. Her second, United's third. Manchester United 3-0 up inside the opening 20 minutes here. They are painting this game red. Really intelligent ball in behind from Lucy Staniforth. Thomas's cross was weighted perfectly. Courtney Brosnan might be a bit disappointed. Brosnan's positioning somewhat helping, but great credit to Vilda Burisa, who is getting her start tonight, and she isn't half taking the opportunity. Certainly has been discussions, particularly relating to her potential future as well, being a World Cup year, wanting to solidify her spot in the national team too by playing as often as she possibly can. Reese's Norway in Group A with co-hosts New Zealand, also the Philippines and Switzerland. The Women's World Cup next summer, that's from July to August. Here's Badge. Turner. Torres-Dottir. Torres-Dottir looks forward, trying to get it free for Williams. Important interception back there. Lovely turn by Gio. We're almost at the midway point of the first half. And already Manchester United are 3-0 up. They've already scored as many goals in this game as in the previous two Conti Cup games put together. George. Park. Now Gali. Longard looks back. Forward by Bjorn, but nothing for Manchester United to worry about. It's Manchester United certainly with plenty going on off the field. When is there not for a big club like them? A very interesting interview with Holly Bancroft on BBC Radio Manchester. Bancroft, of course, recently installed as the new head of women's football. Covered a lot of different areas, including the game against Aston Villa, but also on a wider level. Potential to have more matches at Old Trafford in the future. Also, of course, the subject of contracts. When asked about the contracts of Alessia Russo and Onabache, said conversations are ongoing with those players. We have a strategy group in place to look at recruitment from window to window. Conversations are ongoing across the squad. It's, of course, been a talking point. It's good pressing from Everton, winsing it back through Bennisson. I'm saying that Bache and Russo are by no means the only two players to be out of contract at the end of this season. Emily Ramsey, who's currently on loan at Everton. And there's the two centre-halves, Ethan Mannion, who's still coming back from an ACL injury. Millie Turner, who was just on the ball there. And then Lucy Staniforth and Jade Moore, the two central midfielders. A number of players who are out of contract this summer, but there's an option for a further year. The likes of Sophie Bagley, Hannah Blundell, Maria Torres-Dottir, Mary Earps, the Lionesses and Manchester United keeper. As Park tries to get onto this, and Park has got onto this. Looked a long way offside, and indeed is. Goal given, in fact. Goal given. Well, I must say, from my commentary position, my instinct was that Jess Park was offside. Running in behind, but the goal has been given. Everton have one back. Excellent work from Park. There's, of course, no video assistant referee system in the Conti Cup. If you're watching at home, you might not have necessarily seen where Park was necessarily when the ball was played through. Everton have the goal, and they have a route back. That's just what they'd have wanted, to create a little bit of anxiety and apprehension in the Manchester United ranks after such a good start from the Red Devils. Now, can Everton capitalise on that, or are Manchester United going to go and get a fourth? Garcia wins the corner. Really has been one of those games you just can't take your eye off. Jess Park with her third goal already for Everton this season. The one that would have meant the most to Evertonians, of course, was scoring in that 3-0 win at Anfield. Everton summoned a crowd of just over 27,000, that, of course, the majority of which were Liverpool fans. What can Manchester United make of the corner? Can they get an instant response to Everton getting on the board? Corner swung in. Proper game of pinball in the penalty box. Brosnan's missed it. Has that gone over the line? Yes, it has. Goal Manchester United. Looks like Jade Moore's claiming it. Whose goal it is, they won't care too much. The main thing for Manchester United is they've got a swift response. Just 2 minutes or so after Everton made it 3-1, Manchester United make it 4-1. Well, yeah, it is Jade Moore who'll claim it, and it was clearly across the line. When Meyer, who was back there, tried to scramble it in front in the hope of keeping things alive. So Jade Moore's first Manchester United goal makes it 4-1. And this really is turning into one of those blink and you miss it kind of games. It's all happening here at Leigh Sports Village. It looks to me like Jade Moore, in the process of scoring that goal, might just have injured herself across a bit. She's coming across to the bench. Everton are going to make a change. Gio's first start for the club looks to have been an unfortunately short one. Had 5 goals within the opening half hour here. Well, do let us know on social media. How many do you think we're going to get? We're on for double figures. Thomas. Burisa, who's on a hat-trick. Just to confirm that substitution for you. Just Noyce has come on for Gio. One would imagine that Gio might have picked up a little knock. It is rare that a change is made not for that reason inside the opening half hour. Unless Brian Sorensen has seen something tactically he wants to fix. Noyce a very different type of forward. For now, Everton trying to stop themselves going 5-1 down. Staniforth over the set piece. Staniforth's ball in, runs to Garcia. Garcia's shot blocked. Badge. Well, they haven't got the best record against Manchester United, Everton. I mentioned that a win tonight and Sheffield United doing them a favour in beating Aston Villa, take them into the quarter-finals. That looks a long way away right now. Indeed, historically, they've certainly struggled against the Red Devils in the head-to-head stats. Looking back, they've only won 1 of their 11 meetings against Manchester United. Space out here for Thomas. Patient possession from Manchester United, but important little interception in there, just to try and stem that sense of momentum. Free kick Manchester United. Well, pretty much everybody I could find from either Campbell, who was neutral tonight, predicted a close game. And they also predicted that couldn't find anybody who was expecting quite this many goals quite so early. Frantic start. course, Everton not really with much to lose tonight. Got to find 3 goals at least to take this one into a penalty shootout. It's Everton's final game of this Conti Cup campaign. They last reached the quarter-finals of the competition back in 2017. Groups have always been regionalised, and that has made it often very tough for Everton because they've tended to end up in a group with Manchester City and Manchester United. Everton reaching the quarter-finals in 2017 when they lost 5-4 on penalties against Reading in December of that year. Chloe Kelly and Dan Turner both had their penalties saved after a 1-1 draw. Indeed, what I was mentioning about that pattern has been reflected by the fact that all of their last 5 Conti Cup losses have come against those big 2 clubs from Manchester. 3 against Man City, 2 against Manchester United, and that's what's made it so difficult for Everton often to get out of their group. But they've got a chance to make it 4-2 here. Continue this free-scoring game. Driven in. Doesn't beat the first defender though, runs for Park, who wins the free kick in a dangerous shooting position for Everton. Clever couple of touches from Jess Park, who is such a joy to watch in full flow. I remember seeing her get 4 assists in a Conti Cup game last season when given a rare chance to start for Manchester City against Leicester, and it's one of those nights where you were very aware that you were watching a real future star, as someone who of course has so much to offer even in the present despite being just 20 years old. Could be Park to strike this one. It is Park to strike this one. It comes off the top of the wall and Bagley comes out and claims it. Jess Park, the Manchester City loanee, hunting a 2nd goal tonight against the red side of Manchester. Tunkara. Williams' header, nodded on by Staniforth. Thomas completes the game of head tennis. Park tries to get it forward. Frantic passage of play. Thomas in there fighting for it against Gabby George. Now George again. He's enjoyed popping up in little pockets like this season. Gabby George gets it away for Park. Park to cross, it's a teaser. Headed straight at Bagley. Good skills out here by Jess Park. Just buying half a second to whip the ball in. Snoyce was offside, coming back to try and nod it goalwards. Just Snoyce, the summer signing from Bordeaux after a couple of prolific seasons in France. Here come Manchester United looking for number 5. Staniforth might shoot, does shoot, drifts wide. Well, it did open up really nicely for Lucy Staniforth to have a go. Couldn't quite find the target. I was mentioning earlier on Manchester United's contract situation. There's a couple I didn't get the chance to mention as well who are out of contract this summer but have the option with the club for a further year. I'd already mentioned Earps, Bagley, Blunder, Torres Dottir. There's also Carrie Jones, who's currently on loan at Leicester. Martha Thomas. Maybe Ladd, who's having a brilliant season of it. They were talking about that on the Counterpressed podcast. And Vildebur Risa, who's of course already scored twice tonight. Staniforth. Ball on for Thomas. George is there. Clever interception. Gabby George did an excellent interview with The Guardian about life on and off the pitch, including talking about her cousin Jessie Lingard, who of course has no shortage of associations with Manchester United, having played for the men's side. Saying that Jessie Lingard supports me a lot. We speak frequently. We don't always talk about football though. We speak about life a lot. He supports me a lot and is someone I can turn to. Dottir loses out against Beaver Jones. Beaver Jones still going. Benison. Gali. They stood off her and they were almost punished, Manchester United. Lovely strike from Aurora Gali. Confidently dealt with by Sophie Bagali. Gali, who became the first Italian to score in the WSL with winner against Aston Villa last season. He's got a bit of a nickname building of Yaya, which is linked to the fact that Everton fans have a chant for Gali that uses the same rhythm as the Yaya Kolo chant that was so popular for a number of years on the men's side of the game. Touchline tango from Manchester United. Williams in there trying to make a nuisance of herself for the Everton backline. It's been a frantic first half. Here from the relief of the home fans. Everton haven't quite managed to structure that attack as they would like. Everton have I know there's a bit of a feeling that all they've gone to this possession-based system under Brian Sorensen, they've sometimes lacked a little bit of penetration. They've only scored 4 goals in 7 WSL games, aside from that 3-0 win at Anfield. Indeed, they have scored a lot of goals from set pieces this season. Careless back pass, though, hands Everton a corner and a great chance to get a goal here. Benison set up with a short option. There's also no shortage of Everton shirts in and around the box, and indeed Park eventually is beckoned towards the box by Benison. What can Everton make of the corner? Corner zinged in. Again, it's a game of penalty box pinball, and there's enough Manchester United shirts in there to ensure that the pinball machine comes out in their favour. Staniforth wins the throw off George. Well, that for a second felt very similar to what led to Jade Moore's goal that made it 4-1. Ball dropping into the box, and then there being so many bodies around it. Except this time, unlike at the other end, no one could quite force it in. Johnston. I don't see this ending 4-1. I don't know about anybody watching at home. Let us know your half-time score predictions on social media. If Everton get one, that will really give them a sense of belief coming into the half-time break. Park skipping away up that touchline, stopped by Badger. Parker got a goal and an assist in that win against Liverpool. Manchester City fans will be very relieved. I was talking about Manchester United's contract situations earlier on, to know that Park is contracted at Manchester City until 2026, no less. Same length as Latoon has recently signed on at Manchester United, of course. Latoon on the bench tonight, if needed. She's a number of players who I'd imagine Manchester United will be relatively hesitant to use in this game, with the derby coming up at the weekend. Sliding challenge, referee Mather says play on. Jinking run from Beaver Jones, and now we'll come back for a foul on Beaver Jones. Won't be further punishment, but will be a really good chance for Everton to cut the gap. Can Everton find from the set play? have scored 4 goals in the WSL this season from set pieces. That's one of the best records in the division. They find one here in the Conti Cup. Free kick floated in, it's a dangerous one, and Bagley did really well. She wasn't maybe quite in the exact position she'd have wanted to be, but got a good hand on it. Recycled though, Gali. Benisson. Nice feed, and Benisson with the strike, deflected wide. And unfortunately for Everton, not only has it not gone out for a corner, Benisson has inadvertently winded one of her own players in Gabby George. George, who spoke about in an interview with The Guardian, linked with the men's team, so there was a joint pre-season barbecue for the men's and women's teams and our families, and it was good to all socialise together. So I think Frank Lampard's trying his best to integrate us. Also talked about studying accountancy and how a serious knee injury, having a surgery delayed for 4 months due to lockdown, brought unexpected benefit of forced rest. Talked about having played almost every minute of every game since she was 16. She played that much, she was starting to lose her form. Chaos at the back from Manchester United. Bagley gets it clear. Headed up by George. There's Staniforth. There's Hongard. Had to be careful. Now Bjorn. Here's for handball. On we go. Gali recycles. There's been no shortage of attacking intent, and there's been no let up in the tempo this first half, and there's no reason to think that's going to change in the second either. On for Garcia to chase, and Garcia's got options arriving in the forms of Thomas and Williams. Might just go it alone here, Garcia. Trying to jink her way through. There's a trio of Everton players that just about managed to stop her. Park. Slipped through. Benisson comes off Tunkara into the last minute of this first half. What can Everton find at the end of this chaotic first half of football? Is there one more goal in it? They go short for Park. Park has Benisson. Benisson crosses, only half cleared. Gali. Gali with a little crossing behind that was looking for Aggie Beaver-Jones. 3 minutes added on as a minimum at the end of this first half. Everton to find one back. Remember, this one of 3 matches going on tonight. Sheffield United versus Aston Villa and Liverpool versus Man City 2. Both of those 2 games are goalless. So I'm not giving anything away for those potentially watching on delay at the moment. Of course, Sheffield United versus Aston Villa has only just got going. 15 minutes gone there. Kicking off half an hour later than ours. Our game. Borisa. Boris Dottir. 2 Norwegian international teammates linking up. Badje in there. And Badje, of course, not involved with the Spain squad at the moment due to well-publicised issues. As here come Everton. Looking for one back. Side netting. Side netting so close from Katja Snoys. Got her first Everton goal in the Conti Cup against Sheffield United. And nearly had another one there. Just coming back to Onabaje. For those unfamiliar, of course, the 15 Spanish international players citing their mistreatment and as part of the ongoing dispute with the federation and not being considered for selection. Onabaje, one of those. And indeed, their bravery in raising those issues and risking their international footballing future certainly should be commended. Whilst they're divided in terms of being on either side of Manchester, Leila Wahabi and Laia Alexandri are similar to Badje in that course. Here come Everton. One back by Moore into the last minute of the free added on at the end of this first half. Manchester United get the free kick. And for all the chaos, they'll be very content with this opening half of football. Because whilst it has been chaotic, it has been Manchester United who've had much the better of that chaos. Opened Everton up all too easily, I'm sure, for Rian Sorensen's liking. Referee Mafford just going across to speak to the Manchester United bench. Gave out a yellow card as well. Of course, Mark Skinner was booked in Manchester United's 3-2 win at the Emirates against Arsenal. Also picked up a yellow card against Arsenal when they met in the Conti Cup earlier this year. The end of a chaotic goal fest in the first half here at Leigh Sports Village. Manchester United with much the better of it. Vilda Boarisa with 2, Rachel Williams with 1 in between. Jess Park did get 1 back for Everton, but then 2 minutes later, from a bit of a goalmouth scramble, Jade Moore made it 4-1. And so in this must-win game for Manchester United to keep alive their Conti Cup hopes this season, they're doing what they need to do against an Everton side who are going to need to find something special in the second half to fight their way back. At half-time, it's Manchester United 4, Everton 1. Welcome back to Leigh Sports Village for the second half of Manchester United versus Everton. Changes being made by both sides at the break. Lucy Graham coming on for Leonie Meyer. Very much a straight swap in the fullback area for Manchester United. For Everton, I should say. And the change for Manchester United just being made to wait a little bit longer than had planned because Dane McCarrick, the fourth official, was having some trouble putting the numbers into his board. But Maya Letizier is on for them. The summer signing from Brighton, who's already become something of a fan's favourite here. Manchester United hunting a win to get a Conti Cup campaign finally kicking forward after 2 losses on penalties against an Everton side who came into tonight 3 points ahead of them in the group, find themselves 4-1 down at half-time. Should say as well that Katie Zellem has come on for Manchester United. It's Jade Moore who has made way. That will be a straight swap in central midfield. Tizier gets her first touch after coming on. Straight swap in centre-back area for Millie Turner. Those two have formed a very productive partnership this season in the league. That's to Tunkara ever present at centre back in the Conti Cup, where teams, of course, do often rotate. Benderson. George can cross. He's looking for Graham at that far post. Confirmation again of that Everton change. German experienced international Leonie Meyer, 30-year-old, coming off with Sophie Bagley coming on. Pardon me. Leonie Meyer coming off, Lucy Graham coming on. Sophie Bagley ready to get us back underway, sending it forward for Tunkara because the whistle had gone for offside. Eventually, it's going to be Bagley to take it. They clearly looked at how well set Everton were on the high press and decided this time they weren't going to go short, Manchester United. Tizier now feigning to do so. Manchester United hunting for more goals. They've of course got 5 at the weekend against Aston Villa. It's the most they'd scored in a match so far this season. They got 4 against Reading and 4 against Brighton, both at home in the league before then. Did once upon a time win the Conti Cup game 11-1 against Leicester City, with Ella Toon scoring 5. I'd be very surprised if we get anywhere near that. Little ball in behind for Garcia from Borisa. Almost worked out as well. Good pressing in there from Garcia up against Graham. And now into the box. Great recovery though from Lucy Graham. Everton just hunting a goal at the start of this second half. I do sense that for any realistic hope they've got to score first in this second period. Decent low cross, stopped by Letizier. Nicolina Sorensen, who's just come on, made her return after 435 days out since injuring her ACL in September of last year at home against Birmingham City. Made a welcome return against Arsenal at the weekend. Did an interview with Sarah Halpin for the Everton Club Channels where she was beaming from ear to ear. It was lovely to see. Sorensen understandably just delighted to be back on the pitch, and nearly had an assist as well for what could have been a late Everton equaliser. Thomas. Staniforth. Flipped forward by Borisa. Nice vision from the Norwegian. Swung in, but too close to Brosnan. Again, Manchester United on the high press, and again it's working for them. Borisa with the little cut back. Williams fighting her way through. Touch on it from Sevica, just to slow things down. Set piece chance for Manchester United to make it 5 goals in back-to-back games. The sent in comes for Garcia to strike one. Angle wasn't easy, and certainly wasn't an easy skill to execute on the turn either. Sorensen will keep it in. Tizier just runs the ball out. Corner to Everton, what can they make of it? Sorensen over it. Sorensen floats one up and Bagley does well. Exactly what you want as a defence. Real nerve settler when the keeper comes out and claims it that confidently. Confirmation of the third change that Manchester United made at the break, with Anna Blundell coming on for Onabaje. Also, of course, as I mentioned, brought Liam Sorensen on in place of Aggie Beaver-Jones, the Chelsea loanee. Tizier takes it down, has plenty of time. Tizier, who's been a huge asset to Manchester United ever since joining, and is a proud export of the island of Guernsey. Recently got herself into Ness's squads for the first time as well. Alongside her teammates, the likes of Mary Earps, Alessia Rousseau, Nikita Paris. All part of that historic summer, as well as not forgetting Ella Toon. Ball behind for Sorensen. Sorensen's got options. Driven cross is a good one for Park. It's Park and it's off the bar. So close. It's Sorensen again. Sets it back for Graham. Graham's ball in. And then smashed over the bar by Benison. Bright moments from Everton as they hunt that crucial first goal in this second half, just to cut the gap. It does still feel like a very open game. It does still feel like a game that's got plenty more goals in it. Nicolene Sorensen, who has got plenty going on off the field as well. Talked very eloquently about wanting to make science a more accessible and fashionable career choice for young women. Works in remote-based innovation engineering as a student with the Technical University of Denmark. Sorensen, combining that with her football. Told The Guardian, there's definitely some correlation between my studies and the way I play. I'm used to thinking, how can I optimise this? How can I do this even better? So the mindset from my studies of seeing things and solving problems benefits me on the pitch as well. Talked about the fact that women who are involved in science should talk about it. There's a lot of educational courses and jobs out there involving things girls don't even realise they could be doing. A lot of what needs to happen in order to change things is for those already working in science to just talk to people about it. It's about making people aware it can be quite cool to be an engineer. Amen to that. Even cooler to be an engineer and a professional footballer at the same time. And Sorensen studying in that field alongside playing for Everton as the Tizier under a lot of pressure. Gets it away. That's Staniforth, interception by George. Tunkara. Tunkara being pressed by George. No foul. Here is Sorensen. Sorensen might shoot. Sorensen did shoot, and it almost crept in as well. Nicolene Sorensen, who came back at the weekend after that long spell out for well over a year with an ACL injury. Nearly got a bit of luck there. It flicked off the heel of Toris Dottir. Sorensen over the corner. Can Everton get another one back? Made it 3-1, remember, Jess Park with that goal, but just after they cut the gap to 2, a couple of minutes later, Jade Moore restored Manchester United's 3-goal advantage. Johnson's ball in is not her very best. Instead, Manchester United can counter, and that is a cynical professional foul from Hannah Benison, who has no complaints and is not at all surprised to be shown a yellow card for it, hauling down Hannah Blundell to stop the counter-attack. Benison deciding that it's worth taking the yellow card given the way the attack was building for Manchester United. Hannah Benison, who signed for a record fee for Everton in the summer of 2021. Huge creative asset, huge versatile asset as well to the Toffees. They're under pressure here. Barisa playing advantage for the foul on Williams. Almost ran as well for Garcia. Manchester United settle for the corner instead as they hunt yet more goals. Manchester United find yet another goal. One to go with the 4 they got in the first half. They go short. Sunham's return pass to Staniforth wasn't the best, and instead Everton could build. Frigali. Zeller. Sunham clips it goalwards. Sunham one of the 5 on the score sheet against Aston Villa at the weekend, where Manchester United got an attendance of 30,196. Pretty much bang on 50% increase from the 20,241 they got at Old Trafford in March 2022. That being the first game the women's team had played at Old Trafford with fans, after they won against West Ham previously in the COVID era when no fans were allowed in. Polly Bancroft talking on BBC Radio Manchester about last season gave away quite a few tickets but changed tack this time to make sure the majority of people are paying for them. Taking a strategic decision to sell tickets because we value the product. So to increase attendance with everyone paying is a testament to the women's game. Speaking of things on the pitch, Bancroft added the girls are doing magnificently. Beating Arsenal at a packed Emirates was a particular highlight. An exceptional start to the season. 3 points behind Chelsea with a game in hand after 7 wins from 8. Benison. Fouled by Torres Dottir. Score update from elsewhere. If you don't wish to know, then your audio now, but it's very relevant in terms of what's going on tonight. Half-time in the other game in this group, Sheffield United are not necessarily doing either of these two a favour that they may have hoped in terms of taking some points potentially off the Group A table toppers Aston Villa, who had 6 points from 3 games coming into tonight, and Aston Villa are 2-0 up at half-time. Kenzie Darley on the score sheet, as well as, quite ironically, the Manchester United loanee Kirsty Hansen, who in scoring for Villa might well help to do her bit in making it all the more difficult for her parent club, Manchester United, to reach the quarter-finals, which of course they reached last season, winning 1-0 away at Arsenal thanks to Alessia Russo's header, before losing at Chelsea in the semi-finals. And Everton grab one back here. Sorensen over the corner. It's a low one, little training ground move. Benison, George just trying to turn it in on the back heel. Gathered by Bagley. for a second eyed a counter and then thought better of it. Of course, the January transfer window coming up, and that always brings with it a bit of speculation about comings and goings. Graham Falk reporting that Janine Becky, once of Manchester City, of course, might well be returning to the WSL with Everton or potentially Spurs. Of course, she only left Manchester City in April 2022 for the Portland Thorns. But has had a somewhat frustrating time there as the flag goes up against Rachel Williams. Becky, of course, part of the Canvas side that won Olympic gold. More recently has been on punditry duties covering the Men's World Cup. May well be in an Everton shirt soon. Change for Everton, and this is a really good bit of news for Toffees fans, because Izzy Christiansen is back doing what she does best for them out on the field in place of Hannah Benison. Christiansen, who has had a spell out injured. So here comes Garcia, saved by Brosnan. Very open end-to-end game this. Everton having some good pressure in this second half that they haven't quite managed to turn into a second goal. Manchester United not exactly showing a lack of intent in terms of looking for a fifth. Just on Christiansen. Wasn't in the matchday squad for their previous 3 games before this one. They played in Everton's 3-0 loss against Manchester United at Walton Hall Park back on the 30th of October, where Ian Sorensen said felt particularly disappointed with Everton that day in terms of conceding preventable goals and feeling that they didn't quite give the best account of themselves. Helped on by Garcia, now Burisa. Chinkara. Everton pressing high, and why not? They've got nothing to lose. Goal difference isn't really something to think about too much, of course. It is potentially for Manchester United, because even with points per game being used to decide who finishes second in this group, it could go to goal difference per game. And the reason it's done like that is that Group A and Group B have 5 teams and all the other groups have 4. As Graham nearly gets the chance to shoot. Here's Garcia. Just showing a bit too much of it to Christiansen. He turns away and wins the free kick. Izzy Christiansen, whose name and reputation in the women's game is, of course, well known. Interestingly, Willie Kirk told the Their Pitch podcast that during his time as Everton boss, which of course ended early last season, that he long-term saw Christiansen as more of a 6 rather than an 8 or a 10. Also going on to explain to the Their Pitch podcast that he was frustrated with himself that he didn't necessarily make the time to work further with Christiansen on that potential positional transition. Sorensen lifts it in, nodded down, and ends up in the gloves of Bagley. Relief for Manchester United fans. Sorensen putting the pressure on the Tizier. No shortage of blue swarming forward, but Torres breaks away before just giving it to Bjorn. Christiansen. Izzy Christiansen, who's got no shortage of history in this competition. So that's put in by Graham, a dangerous one. Manchester United do just enough. The Tizier covering across. Corner that Sorensen will take. I mentioned Christiansen's history. She scored in the Conti Cup final for 2 different teams. Birmingham City way back in 2011 and Manchester United's arch rivals Manchester City in 2014. And the other player to have scored in the Conti Cup final for more than one side was Ellen White, who of course retired in the summer. Doing it for Arsenal in 2011 and 2013. And And for Manchester City last season, City, of course, the holders after coming from behind to beat Chelsea 3-1. Johnson over the corner. All packed into that 6-yard box. It's floated in awkwardly. Bagley got an important touch. And we'll come back because Lucy Staniforth is down. It's a head injury. Seems Bagley has also injured herself in the collision as well. Hopefully both are okay. Well, it wasn't exactly a state secret where the ball was going to go there, because almost everybody in the pitch from either team was in the 6-yard box. Indeed, it was floated in there. Lisa Staniforth, who is of course a lioness, as well as highly experienced on the English domestic football circuit. Signed from Birmingham City. Good technical midfielder. WSL winner as well with Liverpool back in 2014. Since then, it's been Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester City who've consistently finished in that top 3 ever since and have won every major honour in English women's domestic football. Manchester United trying to end that cycle this season by getting in the top 3, which would get them into Champions League qualification for next season. Although, as Manchester City know all too well, that by no means guarantees you a spot in the group stage. That's a whole other conversation. Manchester City not making it after being knocked out by Real Madrid, which has left them in Conti Cup action. Speaking of Manchester City, again, if you don't wish to know live score updates, you know what to do, but it's been an important goal in the game between Manchester United's big 2 rivals. Manchester City taking the lead in that one. If it stays that way, then Manchester City will be in pole position to win Group B. Liverpool's excellent points per game average, having won their first 3 games, will put them in a very good spot to take that 1 second qualifying position to reach the last 8. Christensen. Graham linking up with Sorensen. What can Everton find? George. George's ball in, it's a dangerous one, and it just came off the foot and out. Really awkward cross. Lucy Graham in there, hunting for it, as was Katja Snoyce. Comes off the left foot of Graham, who couldn't quite set herself. Lucy Graham, the Scot, who has been at Everton ever since joining from Bristol City in 2019, began her career at 4 foot. Big spell at Hibs as well. Last scored for Everton back in April 2021. 3-1 home win against Aston Villa. That was her last goal until having won earlier on this season. I've had the goals somewhat spread around the Everton squad. Jess Park, their top scorer, who tonight has gone on to 3. Benison, the only player to score more than 1 in all competitions apart from Park. Here's George. Neat cut back, Gali, Sorensen, too close to Bagley. Had a lot of bright moments and nice link-up play in this second half, Everton, without quite finding that second goal. Manchester United maybe not quite as convincing in the second half as they were in the first. They've had to absorb a fair bit of pressure after the break. Have offered a threat themselves on the counter too, no doubt. It's off the head of George. teams in the Channel. Doing well in the physical battle, but giving it away, then winning it back. She's forced backwards, Zelem. Gali. Christensen. Park. Still Park. Doing a dance of... Someone go with the touchline as well as the defender, Jess Park, trying to shimmy her way through. It's an absolute joy to watch in full flow. Here's Sorensen. Thoughtful ball in behind for George. George's first time cross. Bagley will catch. Catch comfortably. Mentioned do get in touch on social media to let us know where you're watching from, and plenty of you have. Matt Clark in Bedford, the Porter Reeds. Son Max cheering on Manchester United, and a big fan in particular of Vilda Burisa, so I'm sure is pretty happy with her 2 goals. Fiona watching in Chester, contributing with a written chant for Claire Wheeler to the tune of Proud Mary from Tina Turner. Peter Pocklington in the USA. Andy Jenkin watching on honeymoon in Cyprus. His dad has travelled to watch the game here at Lee Sports Village all the way from Cornwall. That is a long old trek. Of course, the Conti Cup group stage is regionalised to reduce travelling for the teams, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's reduced travelling for the supporters, depending on where you are geographically. Couldn't quite find the ball out wide for George. Christensen has to go sliding in. Now another decent cross. Patterns of play have been much better in this second half, Everton, and they've certainly had control of the game. Albeit, of course, it's Manchester United who have control of the scoreboard. Park on the turn. Tizier with the interception. Swenson in there trying to win it back. Manchester United trying to play their way out of the press. Zella. Both sides have already made 3 changes. Will be interesting to see just how both teams turn to their bench in the closing stages. Everton don't have a lot of experience left on it after Sorensen, Snoyce and Graham have all come on. Everton have got defending to do as well. Here's Garcia. Still Garcia. Excellent strength from Natalie Bjorn. Great positioning as well from the Swede just to snuffle out the danger against the sizzling Spaniard Garcia, who has been such a live wire for Manchester United this season in those wide forward channels. Be on the left or right. Didn't quite manage to get the shot off there. Garcia, who has already opened her account for the Red Devils in the win at West Ham United earlier on this season. 2-0 victory back in late September. In swinging, driven corner. Played away. Good composure back there from Staniforth, who was pushed by Park. No free kick given. Into the last 15 minutes. Can Everton put the proverbial cat amongst the pigeons by getting one back and then going from there? Can Manchester United close this out? Results elsewhere going as they are will put Aston Villa very much in control of the group. Aston Villa would move on to 9 points from their 4 games. Everton would be still on 5, and Manchester United would join them on 5, albeit with a superior goal difference. So it would mean that Aston Villa would go through topping Group A. Of course, we won't know definitively about that when this game finishes, because Aston Villa against Sheffield United kicked off half an hour later. would then mean Manchester United would be fighting it out to finish as the best second place team. And given results elsewhere, with Manchester City having just gone 2-0 up against Liverpool, that would likely leave Liverpool finishing second in Group B. Manchester City would be level with them on 9 points with a game left. So I make it that Manchester United would, in fact, actually be out tonight. Of course, that depends on a few factors. It depends on Manchester City going on to beat Liverpool. It depends on Aston Villa going on to beat Sheffield United. But if both of those things happen, then Aston Villa will win the group here. That's sent forward for Thomas to try and get onto against Brosnan. Brosnan just about deals with it for now. It's still there. Absolute chaos back there. And then Thomas to strike. Dress wide, and referee says goal kick.
Substitution for United, replacing number 9, Michael Thomas.
And that will be Thomas's final action. For Thomas to come off. Thomas, who Leah Williamson, the Arsenal and Lionesses defender, said in the Wrighty's House podcast, which came out, give or take, about this time a year ago, that Thomas was one of the most underrated players she'd played against in the WSL, was very awkward to deal with. And on comes someone who is just as awkward to deal with, albeit a very different proposition, in Ella Toon. A little run out here. The team was running the show against Aston Villa at the weekend. Didn't get a goal, but was, as you might expect, consistently involved with almost everything. They did good going forward. Zella. Up back there by Seven. Now set wide, space for Park. Has options as well. Still Park. Park's ball in. I think she might have been trying to shoot, in fact. Too close to Bagley. Jess Park hunting for a second goal of the evening. Space for George. Park dropping deep. Little ball forward. Graham is trying to get away from Torres Dottir. Still Graham. Letizier had it taken off her. And then chance on the spin for Snoyce. Instead it ends up in the gloves of Bagley. Into the last 10 minutes here. Manchester United well placed for a comfortable win. As I mentioned, the way other results are going elsewhere means they might be going out of the Conti Cup tonight regardless, but if they do so, then that will very much be due to the two games before tonight. They were ahead against Aston Villa, drew 1-1, lost on penalties, were in front twice against Durham, and lost on penalties. Been plenty of positives for them across this season, though. Of course, they got that big win against Arsenal. It was only their second win in 17 games against the so-called big three of Chelsea, Manchester City and the Gunners. As Williams tries to get it clear, challenge with Holmgaard. Williams down. It's not a head injury, so referee Mather is not at all obligated to stop play, and Everton choose to play on. Chips ball forward, looking for Graham. Comes off Torres Dottir. Now Christensen. Lovely vision to find Sorensen. Sorensen's ball in. Turns into more of a shot. Not sure whether she was trying to cross or shoot from there. Galina Sorensen, who signed a new one-year contract in the summer after signing in 2020 from Brøndby. Previously been with Linköping and Rosengård in Sweden as well. I was actually saying about Liverpool, there's so much waterfront, it reminds me of Copenhagen. Certainly helped make life on Merseyside a bit easier to settle into. Brosnan. Manchester United fans going for one of their favourites in the Earth, Wind and Fire song rewritten for Super League Galton. Galton, of course, on the bench tonight, scored at the weekend. It's Staniforth. Christensen. Clever pass from Christensen to find Graham in space. Graham's ball in. Had a lot of good build-up play in this second half, Everton, without quite turning that into a goal. There's definitely been some signs for positivity. As they continue this run of away games. This is their third of 5 consecutive away games in all competitions, due to a few quirks of the fixture list. Change for Manchester United. Rachel Williams comes off. And their 5th and final change of the evening sees Leah Galton come on. It says a lot about how much she's loved in these parts, where her name was being chanted before she even got onto the pitch. Indeed, former Manchester United manager Casey Stoney talked about that chant to Earth, Wind and Fire getting so stuck in her head that even walking around the house, she was still hearing it resonating in her ears. Galton, who has been in and around the England squad, in March 2018 took a break from playing. August 2016 got an England call-up but pulled out with a hip injury, and in October 2019 asked to not be considered for England's upcoming friendlies. Garcia just running out of room. Manchester United steadily moving towards another success against Everton. It is a head-to-head they've somewhat dominated historically. Everton with just 1 win from their 11 games against the Red Devils, and that was when they had home advantage. It's up by Tunkara. Galton. Torres Dottir. Clips it in behind for Galton again. Galton inside for Staniforth. It's crossfield. Little touch inside, was looking for Everton. George instead comes away with it. Everton, who said to Flo Lloyd-Hughes in an interview with Sky that she was giving it beans, in her words, to the away fans after that win at the Emirates. We dominated in large spells. To celebrate with our away fans was amazing. It's giving it beans to them. Our fans have travelled down and we've got the winner in Fergie time. She's known for her somewhat iconic interviews. Everton feeling one with Emma Sanders from the BBC, where she actually messed up her own chant, which is Tuni and Leslie Rousseau to Rocking All Over the World. One back by Everton. What can they make of it? They've pretty much got to score now to have any chance of something astonishing. They've got to find 3 goals pretty much back to back to back. Staniforth's through ball blocked by Natalie Bjorn. Graham. Behind for Sorensen, who's been bright since coming on. Certainly shown in even her first 2 games since returning from that long layoff what an asset she'll be for Brianne Sorensen's somewhat new look side this season. No shortage of changes in the summer, the likes of Simone McGill, Anna Anvergaard, Claire Emsling, Kenza Dali departing. 10 players coming in, 5 of those on loan. Graham has the chance to cross. Graham's ball in between Kara's header. Staniforth with the acrobatics. Garcia. Fouled by Karen Holmgaard. Karen Holmgaard, a summer signing from Turbine Potsdam. A double deal with her twin Sarah, who's gone on loan to Fortuna. Of course, at Fortuna would have worked with Brianne Sorensen, who across 2 spells at Fortuna Huring achieved a huge amount, a couple of league titles, domestic cup, had them in Champions League on a regular basis under him. Brianne Sorensen talking all about that, amongst other things. Also discussing settling into life on Merseyside in a detailed interview out just last week with the Their Pitch podcast team of Mia Eriksson and Amanda Zaza. Dottir concedes the throw. Sorensen just settling into life in Everton. Was also talking about, amongst other things, about the pronunciation of his name. Was saying that it is Brian, but often it's called Brian when he's in England instead. It's someone with plenty of ideas. He called in the poet Yandalf the Blue to tell new signings about what it means to play for Everton FC. Yandalf, something of a cult figure locally. Zalem recycles under pressure. Backley's got to be careful. Zalem again. Tizier tries to dig out a pass. Not easy with that many blue shirts right up in front of you. As we drift on into stoppage time. Minimum of 3 minutes added on at the back end of this game. George to cross. Comes off Blundell. Comes back for George to hit one. Settles for the corner. If you don't wish to know about permutations, then you know what to do, but it has to be discussed. The way things are looking, both of these sides, in fact, will be going out tonight via this result. Aston Villa 2-0 up against Sheffield United. That will take them on to 9 points. Meanwhile, Everton and Manchester United will both be unable to get more than 8 because they'll both have 5 points in the table. That will mean they're out because they won't be able to top the group and they won't be able to finish as the best second placer because Manchester City's 2-0 win against Liverpool would take both of those teams onto 9 points in the other group. In comes the corner. Comes through to that far post, just lobbed up awkwardly. Everton think they've scored and they have. Well, it really shouldn't be anything more than a consolation. But they've got a goal that their second half performance certainly merits, Everton. in by Snoyce. Turned goalwards and scrambled in. Does that give Everton just a smidgen of something? There is only 3 minutes added on, and they've got to find 2 more unanswered goals. Manchester United trying to avoid any sense of late worries here, even if other results do put qualification out of reach. So it's still, of course, that winning feeling. Bagley in no hurry, no surprise at all. Of course, regardless of qualification or not, Manchester United have still got 1 game to come in this competition, as do Everton. Everton at home against Durham on the 17th of December. They've got Brighton away on the 11th and Spurs away on the 14th, completing this run of 5 straight away games in all competitions. They were at Arsenal at the weekend and won at Sheffield United in their last game of November. Karen Holmgaard's goal for Everton looking like it will be a mere consolation now. Into overtime in stoppage time. Christensen. Sent towards goal. Headed away by Galton. Christensen's shot. Borisa in there. And just smashed away. It's absolute chaos back there. Manchester United with a head injury. It's just thumped clear. Instead, rather concerningly, it's absolutely taken out Maria Torres-Dottir. Came off the left foot of Maya Letizia. Well, hopefully, Maya Letizier's deflection onto Maria Torres-Dottir's head doesn't prove to be any kind of an injury trouble. Torres-Dottir is still down getting treatment, but the full-time whistle has gone here at Leigh Sports Village. It is Manchester United who take victory by 4 goals to 2. Has been confirmed that Manchester City have won 2-0 against Liverpool, which is a bad result for both of these teams, because it means that both of those 2 in Group B have 9 points. And if Aston Villa go on to complete victory with them 2-0 up against Sheffield United, heading into the last quarter of it, and it means that ultimately this result won't be enough for Manchester United. But they've at least got that winning feeling in the Conti Cup, which they didn't have after those 2 defeats on penalties. They win this one by 4 goals to 2. It finishes here. Manchester United 4, Everton 2.